A strike has all but shut down the nation's third largest airline, Pan American. Today, 7,500 Pan Am workers, including baggage handlers and mechanics, walked off the job. Pan Am has been running in the red for several years, but the workers say they have already given up enough. As ABC's Stone Phillips reports, the company is insisting on more concessions.
The pickets were noisy today. The terminals were not. All but 14 of Pan Am's 400 daily flights worldwide canceled because of the strike. With jets on the ground, there wasn't much hope in the air for a quick settlement. Talk on the picket line was bitter.
Before, we used to be one of the highest paid airlines. Now we're one of the lowest paid airlines.
If Pan Am has to go down because of this strike, then let it go down and let us all get on with the rest of our lives the way we're supposed to.
The main issue is wages. In 1982, Pan Am workers agreed to a wage freeze, sacrificing salary increases of 14% over 3 years. Now they say they want their due.
We've given concessions when concessions weren't fashionable, and we've had enough.
Pan Am, which has offered a raise smaller than the workers want, says the union's being unreasonable. With ticket agents, pilots, flight attendants, and other ground personnel honoring the strike, Pan Am supervisors were pressed to find the airline's 39,000 daily passengers seats on other carriers. Thousands had to wait in Miami, Los Angeles, and London. In New York, passengers bound for the Caribbean complained that Pan Am checked people in, then canceled their flight without returning luggage. They told this man,
He said, "Oh, we can't get your baggage back. It's already gone down to St. Thomas." Well, I was supposed to go to Martinique.
both sides say this strike comes at the worst possible time. The company's still losing money, workers tired of making concessions. The question now is how long the strike will last and whether Pan Am can survive it. Stone Phillips, ABC News, New York.
This is Dan Kortz. Today's Pan Am strike was touched off by a problem that has already been confronted by several other major airlines. Labor costs that are too high for today's competitive world of deregulated air travel. New no-frills carriers like People Express and the fare wars they have touched off have forced many established airlines to adopt cost-cutting flight plans. For example, at Eastern, which narrowly averted bankruptcy earlier this month, workers have traded big wage concessions for a major share of company stock. They've also agreed to work rule changes designed to boost their output.
We're doing a lot of things better, and the people are truly motivated. There's a real spirit of interest because it's their wallet being affected.
These giant jet engines were previously overhauled by outside contractors. Now Eastern mechanics do the job for no extra pay. That will save the company $4 million this year. Expensive nuts and bolts accidentally dropped on the floor of Eastern's maintenance shops used to be swept up and discarded. Now they're salvaged, $62,000 worth on this cart alone.
The reality of the marketplace has demanded that we make some adjustments in order to compete with other airlines who have labor costs that are less than half of ours.
The senior pilot in this Continental cockpit is now paid $50,000 a year. Until 1983, senior pilots earned as much as $150,000. But then Continental filed for bankruptcy, canceled its labor contracts, and slashed almost all employee wages by half. Now its labor costs, which once were 40% of total expenses, are only 20%.
Keep the prices low and keep your costs low. It's not magic. I don't think you have to go to business school to figure it out, but it's something people in the airline industry got away from.
Continental is now in the black, and Eastern expects to be this year. If Pan Am hopes to end its 5 years of losses, experts agree it will have to cut its labor costs drastically too. But that's a bitter pill these striking Pan Am workers are still not willing to swallow. Dan Kortz, ABC News, New York.
In tonight's other money matters, the rising trade deficit, despite the fact that in dollar terms,